Hey, we are finally back. This is John.
It's Paul.
And it's Eric.
And it's What If Geeks. We took a couple of weeks off, and apparently some of you noticed because you started listening. Uh, so we're going to take the next 5 years off and see what happens.
Hey, where'd those assholes go?
10,000 followers by then.
Right? That would be nice. All right, so it is now like almost the middle of fucking June. We took a few weeks off there because Eric and I were on vacation, and then Paul's getting ready to go on vacation here in a bit. So we were just like, fuck it. You guys aren't really listening. And we were already so backlogged on this one episode that we're about to do that we just didn't want to be bothered. But now we're ready to go. So we are presenting to you much later than we wanted to, but still kind of in time, our 2020 Geekie Awards.
The third annual Geekies, that's right.
The third annual Geekies. Here we go.
Look, 2020 felt like 2.5 years, so this is perfectly right on time.
Yeah, it's perfect. It just goes right in on par with the rest of the fucking year.
That's right.
So, as the few of you that do actually listen know, the last couple of years we've done our own awards because we feel that some of the major movie awards don't really touch what we love. So we figured, who better to touch it than us? And there you go.
That's the new motto for the Geekies. Let us touch it.
Let us touch it.
I think who better to touch it than us is just, that's over the top enough to be the winner.
There you go. So, yeah. So we're gonna grant our own awards to movies that came out in 2020, and
Ish.
Yeah, since 2020 kind of sucked, we made a caveat that I guess kind of went on par with a lot of things that have been going on. We went all the way through March of 2021 because not a lot of shit came out for us to really review. So we went to March 2021. So come next year, we may have some overlap or whatever, but we'll deal with that the same way we deal with everything else. We'll barely mention it, and we'll just
gloss right on by. Keep moving.
Yeah, we'll gloss over it, and you'll never notice because there's 5 of you, so it's cool. Or 20 because now we left and now we're back. So to all 20 of you, we'll up it to 20 now. Here come your third annual Geekies. Eric, you want to take it away?
Ooh, I could. It might not work out well for us, but
Or Paul.
do you? What do you want to do? Do you want to do this in reverse order of interest so everybody can fast forward 30 minutes before they start listening, or how you want to? You want to go with the big ones first, or?
Yeah, save the big ones to the end.
Save the big ones till the end.
Yeah, like
I'd say that's what she said, but it's probably not appropriate.
Not to me.
Okay, all right. You guys put all your nominations, and we've had this whatever the hell this thing is, Google Docs thing going for, I don't know, 3-4 months now.
Forever.
We put all kinds of nominees in here, and I think not one of us has made an effort to like actually nominate a winner. So you guys are going to get to listen to us debate who should be put up for any of these nominees pretty much this whole episode, because I think there was only maybe 1 or 2 where we even made the effort. So
this actually might be a more fun episode than we thought.
Well, and I think we've done this in the past where we voted and majority rules, right? So 2 of us, 2 picks the winner.
Normally when we have our bracket shit, we kind of do this. So we kind of do something similar.
All right. So I'm not going to start with that one. That's no good. Let's start with best chase scene. You guys good with that one? Best chase scene?
Sure.
I think it's partway down, maybe beginning of page 3 or something like that.
Yep.
So last year when we did this, even though I think Paul and I both agreed that Hobbs and Shaw is a ridiculous extension of the Fast and Furious franchise that should have never gone on. We did pick Hobbs and Shaw chase scene as a winner. Actually, the whole movie as a
The whole
winner, because
movie.
the whole thing was a
Right.
damn chase scene, pretty
Right.
much, with
Yeah.
like exception to 2 fight scenes that happened or something. But the whole thing. So anyway, we picked that as a winner last year. Now this year we have a much, much, much harder choice because we didn't get a lot of options to pick from. So what did we have this year? We had Tenet, if you guys remember that one. We had a reverse time travel weirdness chase scene that happened backwards. It was an interesting concept. I'm not sure that it actually made sense, but there it was, right? And so that's a pretty good one. Bad Boys for Life, the sidecar chase that they did, right? And who could hate Bad Boys for Life anyway? It was a movie I think we probably all needed at least a little bit. And then in The Mandalorian, we had a little bit of a Boba Fett chase scene thing that went on. So I think that's it. Unless somebody else has another nomination, that's the 3 ones we stuck on the sheet. So I think that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, let's stick with that.
Those are
Let's stick with that. So those are the nominees then, drum roll or some shit. But we don't have an envelope to open up. We're just going to talk about what we thought. And there were some other ones we considered for what it's worth. I think there was Gemini Man. Did we talk about Gemini Man as a possible something? Maybe I'm getting confused. But in any case, so let's talk about who's the winner this year. So for me, Tenet was the most confusing ass movie I think I watched the entire year. I watched it 3 different times and I'm still not entirely sure how the plot plays out. But the backwards scenes that they did in that, from the shooting to the chase to anything else, are actually really cool. That said, Bad Boys for Life is almost like a classic brought into the current year. And I think for me, that's going to be the winner, even over the Mandalorian scene with Slave One and Boba Fett.
All right, Paul.
Yeah, I didn't see Tenet. I've heard the same thing from many people who have seen it, that it is confusing, and even the second and third time through, they didn't really understand what was happening. I watched the chase scene, just the clip of the chase scene, which is super cool. I didn't have any context for it, so I had no idea what was happening. Much like anyone who saw the movie from start to finish. There's something really cool about the big Jerry Bruckheimer action movie, which is exactly what Bad Boys 1, 2, 3, it will be the same in Bad Boys 10. The sidecar scene is hysterical. It gets my vote as well.
Yeah, so I would agree. As much as I loved the Boba Fett fake scene, I did. I thought it was, for that part of the show, it was perfect. I kind of want to save some of the Mandalorian stuff for later, but not that they can't win multiple awards, but I would go with Bad Boys for Life. It's not getting enough recognition here anyway, so I think that was the best one. So yeah, Bad Boys for Life. Nice. All 3. Look at that.
Mandalorian will get plenty of love during this episode, so I don't know if we need to worry about that so much. But yeah, I think that's it. I mean, there's some some things they can remake. I think this might be one of our categories, right? Some things they can remake, like Coming to America, and you could be like, what the fuck is this? Why did you do that? Doing a Bad Boys for Life, another sequel that you actually didn't need, wasn't actually a bad thing. It actually worked, right? So
yeah. All right. Well, I just dropped that winner in there. We didn't establish who was going to do that, so one of us will do it.
All right, let's do. You want to do best animated movie? It's kind of a weak category, but
yeah,
to be honest, a lot of these are going to be weak categories. But I would try to disperse the interesting conversations in between. So for best animated movie this year, we had a few nominations: The Croods: A New Age, Soul, Onward, which I think we did a review on Onward. We did a review, right?
We did, yeah.
Yeah. And then Raya and the Last Dragon. Did I skip one? Oh, Scoob.
I threw Scoob in there, yeah.
I think I don't really want to give this to anybody, to be honest, but if you give like sort of nostalgic references and sort of the I'm playing D&D, I'm a nerd in my basement feel kind of stuff, then I'll give it to Onward for an animated film on this one.
Okay, I was gonna say, moving forward, let's like take turns. Who's gonna go first?
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. But I was gonna go the same way. Yeah, Onward really spoke to me, and out of all of them, as much as I really did enjoy all of these entries, I think Onward just kind of hit for me. So, Paul.
Yeah, I agree. And I think we said this when we did the review of the movie. Like, I don't have a relationship with my dad. And so seeing some of that stuff play out and thinking about like what would happen if you had one more day with your dad, I had all the feels watching the movie. So yeah, that's for me too. And I thought they did really cool things that you expect from, I think it's a Pixar movie, right?
It is, yeah.
Like unicorns that are in every other movie, like these beautiful mythic creatures and super pretty. They're like the raccoons of that world, like the scavengers and gross and whatever. I thought that was hysterical.
Oh yeah, like unicorns were just like
the garbage animals. They go to the Manticore's restaurant and it's like a TGI Fridays. Like all that stuff was really fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. I really enjoyed it, and much like you, like with my parents dying when I was 15. I kind of like it hit my feels a little bit. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. It hit everything you wanted it to hit. And not take away from any of the other ones, but onward goes onward.
Whoa.
And now we've got
what's happening right now. What was that?
Eric's crotch went onward.
Sorry, guys. I had a really hard time jerking off to this content, but I'm working on it.
Thanks for pushing through.
Side note, think
I'm glad this is not video anymore. I'm glad this is not video anymore.
Drunk Eric is so much better for this podcast. There's so much more material here. All right, where are we going?
I was trying to type on my keyboard and this damn slider thing rolled in and the keyboard and the computer fell in my lap. That's what we're laughing at. Okay.
All right. You want to go to like best gadget? Do above it?
Sure. We'll do a throw off. Sure, why not?
I'll fuck you up.
Who's doing it though? Am I doing it?
All right. So
go ahead.
Yeah.
The nominees are.
Last year's winner was the Iron Gauntlet from Endgame, which duh. Now this year we've got actually quite a few since 2020 sucked, but we managed to get a whole bunch of things.
I love the commentary in our nominations. This is great.
We got the best car staff from Mandalorian season 2.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we've got the Titan axe that Kong held in Godzilla vs. Kong, and then we've got what we've named the lasso of all the motherfucking things in Wonder Woman 84.
Hey man, that shit can grab lightning bolts. You can't fuck with that thing. Oh, you did miss one. Second one.
You missed one.
Oh, the Darksaber. Yeah,
Darksaber.
Yeah, I skipped the Darksaber. We have the Darksaber as well. So yeah, let's all right. Let's go ahead and make fun of the one that's not going to win.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do that. I want to do that. The lasso of all the motherfucking things was ridiculous. Seriously, like who the fuck came up with that?
I said this since the trailer.
Right.
When the trailer came out, I said
when the trailer came out, you and I were talking about riding the lightning like it was a fucking joke because what the hell is that? The lasso of truth can grasp lightning bolts in the sky and she can basically fly.
And make it this big to grab a bullet out of midair.
Yes.
If you needed to.
Yeah. So you're gone. All right. So
it's a good nomination for a gadget. I mean, that thing is ridiculous, but it's also ridiculous. We can't do that.
It jumped the shark. It jumped the shark.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. And so Titan Axe, I mean, the Godzilla vs. Kong thing was kind of cool. I'm not much of a Godzilla fan as John is, and maybe Paul, I'm not even sure, but certainly not as much as John. But I mean, I was actually struggling to keep up with that movie a little bit. I'm like, wait, what is happening right now? It's not like there was a complicated plot. It was just like, damn, you really have to be invested in this world to understand what the fuck they're doing right now, right?
You do.
And so that wasn't me. So I'm not saying I didn't like it. I just didn't love it.
So I like the old Godzilla movies, right? The cheesy one where it's a guy in a rubber suit. I think those are fun. These movies, the sort of redone Godzilla, Kong, the other Godzilla movie, like they're cool. I was thinking about this today because I went through this list again. This movie is like a burger at McDonald's, right? It's good. You're going to enjoy it. It's not gourmet. You know that going in. But it's good, right?
Yeah.
I think that the axe is kind of cool. But for me, this winner is the Darksaber. Like that is something that isn't referenced a lot in any of, I don't think it's in any of the Star Wars movies all 9 movies that came out. Not in the movies. It is Clone Wars, right? And in the books and some other stuff.
So it had a big spot in the animated series, a big spot, and that's why they introduced it. It was sort of a tie-in to that, like bring it all together. And you guys know as well as I do that Mr. Cowboy Hat had everything to do with putting that in there. Yeah. But I mean, that's exactly why they brought him in for that job, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's to just bring everything together. I mean, he's it.
Yeah. And not only does the wielder. Not only does it seem to have most of the powers of a lightsaber, wielding it makes you the ruler of Mandalore. So that's it for me. That's the winner.
All right, Eric.
I'm borderline. So definitely one of the Mando devices is winning this throwout for me, but the very, very, very sort of stylized Japanese battle over the water with the Beskar staff and the two, that was super fucking cool in season 2, right? It was like it's almost like you're watching like a old Japanese samurai film or something. The two of them fight over the water on the little platform. There's like a space, and this water spilling out to the side. You lose a saber, and the fact that staff is nothing, right? It's just a stick, but at the same time, the Beskar that they've sort of
made it to fight lightsabers, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. They built up the Beskar in this way more than they did in any series, any book or whatever. And you got to a point where it's like, well, this is really just a light metal staff. There's really nothing that special. But then you watch, the samurai of samurais and a badass bitch with a Beskar staff face off and say, oh shit, yeah, that's pretty badass actually, right? And so I think more for the stylization than anything else, and the idea that Mando himself has sort of shunned the Darksaber, but he's picked up the staff. I think I want to give it to that one.
The staff.
Yeah, the staff, yeah.
All right. So we had a discussion when we reviewed Godzilla versus Kong, and I think I kind of schooled you guys when we were watching the trailer back before we even did the review. I was like, are you paying attention to what the axe is? And the Titan axe is actually a plate from one of Godzilla's species, right? So there was that whole conversation we had on that. Like Eric said, like I really love the Godzilla versus Kong. I really love what they've done with it, and I'm looking forward to what they're doing further. But the Titan axe was really cool to me because I was like, oh, Kong's ancestors built this weapon to fight, and you can see how they kind of like went further with like how smart they are and whatever. However, that being said, as much as I enjoyed it, going up against these other two, I mean, it's fucking Star Wars. I mean, sorry. I mean, but now I come down to the Beskar staff and the Darksaber. the Beskar staff is cool. I really enjoy it because I know the Mandalorians built all their Beskar armor to fight against the Jedi. But to actually see the Darksaber in season 1, never mind actually being used in season 2, just to see it ignite and actually to see it in life, I got to give it to the Darksaber.
You know, I honestly, I could go either way on that, to be honest. But I mean, seeing the Darksaber sort of in live action and the way they did it so perfect that it matched so well, I mean, it's hard to say no to it. I was just being a little bit controversial because Paul said the other one, and I figured I'd make you tired.
It really fucked me up. Like when Moff Gideon lit it at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
I was literally that Leonardo DiCaprio meme where I was like pointing, like, "Oh shit, it's the Darksaber." Like that was me. So yeah, it's the Darksaber.
All right, Darksaber has it.
Darksaber takes it. What the fuck just happened? We're both typing. Ah!
Me? Oh, that's Paul.
Oh. All
right.
Villain? You want to do villain, Paul?
Sure.
All right.
All right. Best villain. Last year, our winner was Mysterio from Spider-Man Far From Home.
Mm-hmm.
Others that got consideration last year was the kid from Brightburn, which is a messed up Superman story, and Thanos. And so this year, the nominees are Maxwell Lord from Wonder Woman 84, Cheetah, also from Wonder Woman 84, Black Mask from Harley Quinn and the 12-word title for that stupid movie.
The Emancipation of Harley Quinn. What the hell was it?
Harley Quinn, yeah.
Yeah, don't hurt yourself.
Dr. Robotnik from Sonic the Hedgehog, and Stormfront from The Boys.
Ooh, can I start this one?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to start this one only because I actually don't know what I'm going to say. But Maxwell, the fact that we have 2 villains from Wonder Woman 1984, that movie in large part is kind of a joke, right? The way that they gave Wonder Woman powers, it was all kind of ridiculous, right? They just made her not into a superhero, but into like an extremo ultra hero. It was a little bit over the top. It was a little bit too much woman power, too much. But that's not the point. The villains that they had in that, woman or man, were actually really good. You know, they really had a decent backstory. They really had a convincing sort of lead into the story that you would know from the comics, right? And so they worked really well. That said, Jim Carrey's portrayal of Dr. Robotnik was great. Was really great, actually. Way better than I ever would have expected. And the crazy Nazi twist from Stormfront and The Boys almost blew my mind. I mean, I should have saw it coming, but at the same time, she was like the Mandalorian side of the hair shaved. I just didn't expect it, you know, and it it totally took me off guard. And then everything that happened with Captain America fucking standing. What the hell is his name? Homelander after the fact in that season was just another mind blown moment kind of thing, right? But they did it really well. So I'm telling you, I'm not giving it to Black Mask because there's nothing, as far as I'm concerned, even kind of redeeming about Birds of Prey. But I have a really hard time with fighting between the nostalgia sort of piece of Dr. Robotnik and the way they did him as a real person, and then they played it through the whole movie, and it wasn't until the end that you saw the video game Dr. Robotnik, and you're like, oh shit, oh okay, got it now, you know. That was kind of cool. All that said, I think I'm going to give it to Stormfront for the pure shock factor of what I never saw coming. And what's her name? Aya Cash. Aya Cash. Thanks. The way Aya Cash played that character, beyond expectation, and I really do have to give it to her as the best villain. And it's funny because she is a sea of villains in in The Boys, right? They're all villains. But I mean, she is a real villain that you don't get to see until halfway through the series.
True. All right, Paul, what do you think?
Go next, John. You haven't gone second yet.
Okay, Mephisto. No,
That'll be next year.
No, he's coming. I'm telling you, he's coming.
Next year's Geekies.
Yeah, all of this is going to pay out for me.
Right.
I'm going to honestly be like, thank you. But yeah, I would say like Wonder Woman 84 was cool to me, and they did a good job with Cheetah. Maxwell Lord was all right. It was the whole movie all around was good to me. I liked it. Birds of Prey. Nope. Sorry. Dr. Robotnik was really good. Like Jim Carrey, we had this conversation when we actually reviewed it, right? Robotnik, Jim Carrey did such a good job with it where you only saw Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey once or twice within the movie. So he did a good job. But Stormfront, to me, I really loved her character. We've had this conversation before where when, movies or TV shows gender swap characters, they got to be careful with it. This was a good one. I really enjoyed the gender swap and the placement of the character. It was much bigger than what it was in the comics. And it made her a very prominent character in the show, which the comics was like Stormfront was a guy and was barely there. So for me, I enjoyed not quite liking Stormfront, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, she was kind of hot. Like, yeah, the whole laser my tits thing. I was like, yeah, all right, it's a little kinky too. But yeah, so I would have to give it to Stormfront too, just for the take that they made for that character.
Yeah, I think that my issues with Wonder Woman were more sort of what Eric mentioned, that they made her this hero, not just she ends up beating the bad guys not because of strength and other stuff. It was her humanity,
Yeah,
and her goodness. Maxwell Lord is a bit of a joke in this thing. Cheetah's a better villain than Maxwell Lord, I think, in that movie. I never got far enough in Birds of Prey, to be honest, to even see Black Mask as very many scenes with him in it, because I was like, I'm done with this.
yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute.
Jim Carrey did Jim Carrey for the first probably half of that movie. Right, it was Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey, The Mask, Jim Carrey, for most of it, and I think until the end. But Stormfront was a well-written villain for the times we're in, because she was so up on social media and how to manipulate public opinion in her favor while being behind the scenes terrible and say things, right? There's the scene where she's in the housing project and she's on the roof and she chases the one guy who's of Asian descent. She calls him like yellow something, like horrible, like really
All kinds of horrible names. Yeah.
And then kills and like snaps his arms and kills him. Does all this stuff, and then you find out she's this horrible Nazi. But likes to get thrown around and choked out and whatever by Homelander.
Yeah, and in a superhero way, they make it this has been going on for like literal decades for her, and she hasn't aged or anything. It's just been happening, and nobody else was sort of following the trend, right? So,
and all of the members of the Seven are terrible, right? They're all terrible in their own way, and she's the worst.
Easily the worst, and they're all awful.
Correct.
I mean, there's forced fellatio in the first episode.
Yep.
But she's worse than that. She really is worse than that.
Look like they're okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
like they could be redeemable. She can't.
Yep.
All right. Well, Stormfront it is.
We had a lot of agreements this year. That is not normal that we would
I know.
mostly agree on things.
It's because at least 2 out of 3 of us are kind of drunk. But now I will side note. Let's just say how Kristen Wiig was really hot in Wonder Woman. Sorry, just in case we don't get to mention that later. I'll be the dirty old man of the group, and she looked good. We don't have a hottest villain, so you know.
You know, we don't, but you know what we did do this year, which we could do real quick, and it won't be a long discussion. But we did a surprise performance. So we started that last year because Joaquin Phoenix blew us all away with the Joker, right?
Yeah.
And so we all thought he deserved a nomination. We really didn't even have any competition last year. I mean, it wasn't really a question about who was getting surprise performance.
Yeah, no.
Now,
we
so
nominated it and we went.
yeah, and so this year we had. Well, like with every category, we had a little trouble deciding on what even deserved the nomination, but we did come up with 2 for this category. And the 2 are the 2 we were just talking about. And the 2 we were just contrasting, and that's Kristen Wiig as Cheetah and Aya Cash as Stormfront. So
should we throw one last one in there?
Oh, sure. You want to throw another one in there?
For a surprise performance?
Okay.
Mark Hamill, Mandalorian.
Oh, that's like a surprise appearance, though.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'll give it to you. I'll let you put it in here, but there's no way I'm voting for it.
No, I get it. We'll put that in the caveats.
Okay, so I'm going to start this one if you guys don't mind. So I've already made my comments on Aya Cash. I already told you I didn't expect that. Kristen Wiig, though, actually did a super excellent job. And I was taken back a little bit to sort of like an 80s movie where you have the nerdy girl with the glasses and then she just does this transformation. But the transformation that happens in Wonder Woman, it's not about Wonder Woman, who, again, to me was sort of a joke. What's the term they use for Star Wars for the Episode 9 character, the Mary Sue, right? Yeah. So you have a superhero that deservedly gains powers and does cool things, but then lacks any flaws that like ground them to humanity. And Wonder Woman, unfortunately, didn't get any of those. Right? I mean, her biggest flaw was, I love this guy from 20 years ago or something. I mean, it was kind of a joke, right? And I think they messed it up.
Somebody else's body.
Yeah, right. And so, oh yeah, that's right. It wasn't even the guy. It was a person she perceived, and who knows?
The luckiest man in the universe.
Yeah, who knows? But I guess the point I'm getting to this is Kristen Wiig and Aya Cash both have very real flaws. As characters, right? That you don't necessarily see early on, and then you get to see as they do the development. I think for me, Aya Cash's performance as Stormfront was a lot more impactful, which we just talked about, and I guess bringing this up after that conversation probably tilts it a little. But Kristen Wiig actually did a really good job, and there's definitely some throwback nostalgia moments from the big glasses and the fucking I don't know, the pretty crimp and curl hair she had going on and the other stuff, right? That sort of made me think about that time frame. But I'm not sure it really developed the character as much. And so I'd put Aya Cash on the surprise performance for sure. But Kristen Wiig deserves it, I think, equally for this.
Yeah.
All right, Paul.
So the way I looked at this is I came to know Kristen Wiig as an actor from SNL, right? So what and the funny character she played, and I know she's done some serious stuff before, but like for me, I look at her and I still think comedian. And so when she does something out of that character like this, and does it really well, to me that's more surprising than anything else. And Aya Cash, I came to know in a show that started on FX called The Reason I Hate You, something like that. Really good show. I'm gonna mess it up, so when John does his turn, I'll look it up what it is.
Listen, if you need something better, she voiced what was the name of it? Brenda in Sausage Party. So that pretty much set her career off. I'm
That's
kidding,
fine.
but I'm not.
So for that reason, when I see someone who's got the history of comedy, Kristen Wiig's in Bridesmaids and a bunch of stuff that I think is really hysterical, and then she does this, changes it for me. So for that reason, I give it to Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, so I did not know Aya Cash before this. I hadn't seen her, which she blew it away as Stormfront. But Kristen Wiig, like you, I had known her from SNL and comedy roles. To see her in Cheetah, when she was first cast as Cheetah, I was a little worried. I was like, what are we doing? But to see her actually take the role, and to, like Eric's point, to take these tropes that have already been there, but for some reason, somehow, she made them feel a little bit fresh in this movie. And then just kind of roll that into one whole big character. Yeah, I 100% give it to Kristen Wiig.
You know,
the show is called You're the Worst that she's in.
You're the
from
Worst.
FX. You're the Worst.
You know what you guys just reminded me of, though? Do you remember back in, I guess it would have been late 80s or so, Batman spinoff, Catwoman thing? And what the fuck was her name? Blonde actress. Played Catwoman.
Oh,
One of Batman. Michelle Pfeiffer. Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer did one of the Catwoman renditions where she sort of played this nerdy offset girl, and I really didn't think about it. I really didn't think about it at the time, but that's actually like a really good analog for the way that Kristen Wiig played Cheetah.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if that was intentional now that I say that out loud, but it actually worked really well.
Yeah, it did. All right, I'd give it to Kristen Wiig.
All right, well, that's 2 against 1, so have at it. Put that winner down.
I think we all voted for Kristen Wiig, right?
Yeah, he can't count. He's drunk.
That's fine.
Did I vote for Kristen Wiig?
Yeah.
He did.
Oh, shit.
All right. Let's do, we do most shocking moment.
Ooh, yeah. Ooh.
All right. Let me do this, and John, you start the voting. Most shocking moment. Last year's winner is a scene that I still think is one of the funniest things I've seen in a long time on TV. And it is the dolphin scene from The Boys when Deep is driving and breaks a dolphin out from what is their SeaWorld. And it's talking to it, and the dolphin's talking to him, and it gets a little starts to get physical, and the dolphin's like taunting him and like, just touch it for a second, and he's like, fine. And the car hits a truck, and the dolphin just goes slow-mo through the windshield out onto the street, and then gets run over. And it
gets run over by a semi truck. That's what really made the shock moment, right?
Yeah.
He was stared at it the whole way through the window. They slow-moed it, so you had no idea what was coming, and you watched that dolphin go along, and it busted the windshield and went out on the road. It was like plop, plop, plop.
Yeah.
Fucking semi-truck. You couldn't have predicted that if you had $1 million. That was like $1 million to 1 odds.
No, it was amazing.
Others receiving nominations last year, Tony Stark dying at the end of Avengers Endgame, and the scene where Cap reaches down and is able to wield Thor's hammer, which caused audiences, when I saw it, to go crazy. And I know every time it did. So this year, I don't think anything is as inspiring as the idea of Cap reaching down and grabbing Thor's hammer.
No, certainly not.
No, not in 2020.
But the nominees this year are the fight scene between Chris Hemsworth and the kids on the streets of India or Pakistan in Extraction, a made-for-Netflix movie. The fact that in the remake of Mulan, there is no Mushu, the animated dragon, and they do not break into song.
No music. Yeah, I was expecting it the whole time and never got it. Gladly, but also shocking.
Yeah. Speaking of Hammer, the
Oh.
character that has come to be known as Love Sausage, one of the
Boys, yeah.
one from The Boys, one of the inmates at a place for people whose powers have sort of gone off the rails when they take V, and the guy's, I guess, has control over a schlong and can make it do things. And a scene that we just mentioned, which is I'll use the word love scene, but there's no real love going on between Homelander and Stormfront, where she says, in a fit of passion, "Laser my tits."
Hey, listen, don't judge their love, Paul.
So John, you want to start?
All right. So I'll just kind of take these almost in order. So the Chris Hemsworth Extraction movie, one, I really, really enjoyed it. To see him get away from Thor and to do something different was cool.
Very different, actually.
Netflix did a really good job with it. And I really enjoyed that movie. I liked it a lot. And it was a shocking moment to see him fighting these kids. It was crazy. The no Mushu and no songs in Milan was kind of like, wow, okay. Because Disney's kind of like, they got this whole live action.
Disney was what, 4 remakes in at this point, all with live action songs. And,
and you never know what the hell's going on, but you kind of at least knew they were going to like stick somewhat to their formula, and they didn't at all. So, all right. The Laser My Tits, I keep going off on it just because I think Aya Cash is hot, and well, she's kinky too. But Love Sausage. All I can say about this is, one, the brief part you have of him in this show is not quite like what you get in the comic, like at all. But the fact that they went here with this and had him like controlling a schlong. Yeah, I'm done. That was it. That was my most shocking moment. I did not see that one coming when it, much like, who the fuck did he grab with it? It wasn't A-Train. It was,
Wasn't it?
it was
Mother's Milk?
Mother's Milk.
Yeah.
Much like Mother's Milk, I did not see that one coming. Pun intended.
Eric?
There you
go. All right, I'll do these mostly in order to. Chris Hemsworth, great performance in Extraction. Definitely, as far as a movie is concerned, totally unexpected for a made for Netflix kind of thing. And the children fight scene was definitely a bit of a shocker, I guess. But I mean, it doesn't really compare to dolphins requesting to be fingered before being slow motion thrown out of a window and run by a semi-truck. That said, Mulan, the remake, totally expecting that to be a girl power, musically inclined Disney movie, and they didn't even try to go down that path. It was, I mean, as much as you could do it with a Disney Plus sort of rating and style, that was a Japanese samurai film, and I was really shocked at the way they did everything there and the way that they took out the cartoonish elements of Mulan. Love Sausage. I mean, a snaky, super fat penis reaching over, breaking it. I mean, I'm not even sure if there's really a true comparison to that. I mean, The Boys, along with the dolphin scene, has done some of the most shocking shit any of us ever. They actually started the series with a shock moment when somebody leaned over the edge of a curb and got fucking splattered in slow motion, and there was brains and blood. And I mean, the show has done everything they could do. And to some extent, the wiener over the door frame is actually almost not that shocking compared to some of the other shit they've done. That said, getting to the last one here, loved Aya Cash's role, loved the villainous of that character, loved the Homelander love relationship, and Laser My Tits, just for me personally, and I'm not making any commentary about what I like in the bedroom, but that thing I really thought was like, oh, fuck, that is not what I was expecting. And it was followed up by even more shockers, but I love that moment. I'm giving it to Laser My Tits.
I was about to ask questions about.
I don't have laser eyes, unfortunately, and Becca would never say laser my tits.
But it does work for NASA, so you never know. All right, Paul.
Well, now I got to choose between.
No,
I don't know how to.
No, this is what happens, and we get to argue it a little bit.
So I think that for a show to do the love sausage thing that they did, to me was more shocking than even Laser My Tits, which exposes sort of another part of that character, right? That like she wants that pain element.
Yeah.
But that they would do the thing and make his dick go up and choke somebody and break the window and do that whole thing. So for me, I think it's love sausage.
All right,
love sausage. All right.
At least two of you like being choked out by large.
Hey, you know, I accept what I am.
All right, who's got the next one? John, I think you have the next one.
All right, let's see what we got left here. All right, we'll say the best fight. We'll say the best hero. We'll say all that shit up top. Oh, you know what? I think it might be a good time for me to break into one of my little ancillary awards. Let's go with the Thank God for Meth Award. So at the start of this pandemic, we all got blessed with Tiger King. And all I can say is thank God for that little bit of time I had Tiger King to embrace. Tiger King. I Love Tigers came out on Netflix right in the beginning of the pandemic, and it seemed like it was like all anybody could talk about. Yep. Joe Exotic owned a Tiger Ranch, and just go watch it. It's all fucked up.
He convinced heterosexual males to be his love interest on this tiger farm, and all again under the motivation of meth and
tigers.
Meth and tigers are a powerful combination, apparently.
Yeah. I don't know what the hell you call her, non-binary something woman got her arm chewed off by a tiger, and everybody was like, "Oh, you're gonna be fine. We'll tourniquet that. You're good." The whole show.
Right back to work, or he was right back to work.
Yeah, the whole show was a disaster from beginning to end, in a way that what the fuck was it? 8 episodes? I don't even know what the hell it was. Got watched from beginning to end because how could you not?
Yeah, no, everybody binged it. So yeah, so I had to throw that in there because I'm an asshole. It's right up there with Birdemic and In the Room. All right, let's go with.
No, I get to steal it now.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm just kidding. If you want to do it, go ahead.
Oh, good. Go.
All right, I want to do a geek out moment. I feel like we're middle-ish of the episode. Oh God, we're way past an hour. Middle-ish of the episode, we're gonna do geek out moment, right?
So let's go.
Yeah. So you already mentioned one of these. Luke Skywalker showed up at the end of Mandalorian season 2. He fucked up a whole bunch of those super soldier guard. What were they called?
Dark Troopers.
Dark Troopers. Thanks. Sorry, I'm mildly drunk, folks. Dark Troopers. He fucked up a bunch of Dark Troopers, and then he got actually a little bit of an awkward CGI moment in the show. It was somewhat laughable, I think, but. So there was that moment though, which was total geek out. I think everybody and their mother. I told you guys when we did the episode review, the minute that single X-wing came across the screen, I knew exactly what was coming, and I was like, "Oh yes, that's it." But yeah, so there's that, and then Boba Fett back in his armor, also a Mandalorian geek out moment. Boba Fett back in his armor, original character actor from episodes 1, 2, 3, or whichever ones he was in. I don't know if it was all three of them, but
Prequels, yeah.
yeah. So back for that, super cool moment, and they're clearly playing on that with a whole Boba Fett series coming up. So definitely a geek out moment. Not only seeing him back in armor, but seeing him sit on Jabba's throne at the end of season 2. When you know the Book of Boba Fett series is somewhere down the road, it could be 10 years away. Who the hell knows what's happening? But just that sort of like, yes, where have you been with this? And the funny part about that thing is that who the fuck is Boba Fett, right? Like, the guy, he's a stupid asshole bounty hunter that was made to be badass and then got knocked into a pit. It's hilarious that we sort of idolize him and their story.
There's no reason for the fan.
Yeah, there really isn't. I mean, there was a bunch of stuff written for him, you know, an extended universe or whatever.
Yeah.
And I understand people following that, but it's kind of funny is that he was billed as a badass bounty hunter. Never actually was in any of the films. And here he is back here, the baddest of the baddest ass that gets his own series. CW Crisis Event got goddamn near every major DC character there ever was, right? I mean, talk about, you talk about geek out moments. I mean, there's Flash, there's Superman's, Supergirl, who knows? The whole damn thing was just
They had Burt Ward from the 60s Batman.
Yeah, well, that's part of the brilliance of what they did. And I knock DC a lot, being the least DC fan in this group, but they can be clever. And I think this is a moment where they're clever. And they brought people in from not just multiple characters, but multiple different generations of people watching those characters, right? And they sort of put it all into a relatively short seasonal episode event. So definitely super cool for anybody that loves DC. And then for the last thing that we have on the nominations, we've got Wonder Woman with a golden wingsuit, which I'll be goddamned. You know, it didn't dawn on me at the time, but Victoria's Secret Angels with those big, I think there may be some play there. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, that was definitely from a Kingdom Come thing where that was the first time I
That's our Kingdom Come suit.
In any case, I mean, that was also definitely a shocker moment. And the fact that was followed up with a pretty epic battle with Cheetah, who we also didn't kind of see coming as the supervillain, all sort of played into a really cool geek out moment. All that said, I'm going to cheap out here and give this to the Luke Skywalker cameo.
Full stop.
It was sorry to not give any more elaboration than that for everybody that's listening, but I don't feel like it's needed. Yeah.
When the X-wing comes across the screen, I was like, "Is this about to be?" And then the figure comes out, hood up, green lightsaber. You're like, "Ah, I think it is. I think it is. I think it is." And then hood back, and you're like, "It's the payoff." Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so like Eric said, like the cameos in the DC stuff, I enjoy. Heather and I love watching the CW stuff, and sometimes they kind of like jump the shark on stuff. That one cameo moment they had, really, like, they did a really good job with it. Boba Fett, again, like Eric said, nobody knows why they love Boba Fett, but for some reason everybody does. And I do too. And it was great to see it there, and I'm looking forward to the show. The Wonder Woman wingsuit, cool, yay. But yeah, for me, it was Luke. It was always Luke. It was always going to be Luke.
Yeah, I mean, to a large extent.
As soon as that X-wing showed up, I don't kind of vaguely remember if I was even like drinking that day, but I completely sobered up. Like I was like awake in my recliner, up watching, and Heather was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, shut up, it's about to happen." I knew it as soon as the one X-wing showed up, and Cara Dune, as much as I wanted to cancel her, said, "One X-wing, great, we're saved." I was done. I knew what was about to happen. And I've said it on this episode, on this show before, and it opened up not exactly, but as much as I could have expected out of this, they went 5 or 10-fold and just like showed how badass he is. CGI, like Eric said, I mean, but for what it is, I'll accept it. You know what I mean? Like, I'll take it for what it is. Maybe 10, 15 years from now, they gotta go back and like redo it real quick so nobody sees it. Like, oh look, it looks just like me and you. Fine. It was perfect for me. It was great. It's Luke all the way.
Yeah, I definitely have no argument with that.
Especially after the shit he got in the sequels.
Right. I know it's a cheap cop out to say that, and I'm not even sure he did anything to earn it, but as a story building element, as a literally like 30 years running sort of thing, I mean, that was the moment Luke Skywalker deserved.
Yeah, from a fan moment.
Yeah.
From what many fans feel like they got robbed out of in the sequels.
Yep.
Right? Filoni and Favreau handed it to you on a silver platter. Like,
yeah, I mean, as stupid as that CGI scene looks from the outside with a 10-second clip, that's exactly what I needed. I think that's exactly what a lot of people wanted.
Yeah, because I will 100% back you on, like, the CGI is not the best. However, all encompassing what that scene was, it was perfect.
Like, it's not a lot of the time that I'm watching a show. I watch a million shows at night. I probably watch 6 episodes of something every night, but it's not a lot of the time that I like make a loud noise like, oh shit, but that was one of those moments. That was one of those, like, you know what, fuck it, it's coming out.
And if you go back and you go to YouTube and you watch fan reactions to Luke showing up, it gets you right in the feels. Like, you see people like us that are like losing their shit when he shows up. So yeah, Luke deserves it. He's got it. All right, moving on. What we got?
Who's got the next one? Paul? I think you do.
Sure. Let's do best hero supporter, not necessarily superhero supporter, best hero supporter. This is sort of the guy in the chair that talks the hero through, getting to where they need to be and back. I think anytime you're watching SEAL Team or something and it's the guys at the base, you're watching anything else and they're the ones sort of left behind. Last year's winner was Iron Man in his role mentoring Spider-Man. Others receiving consideration last year was Baby Yoda. This year's nominees, Huey from The Boys, someone who works with the boys, is there not as strong, right, as any of them, not as tough, not as good as a fighter, but there when they need him for support. Cara Dune, who I thought was a great character, and someone who's got Mando's back after they meet in season 1, there for him all the way through this season. And then an interesting choice for us, which is Zack Snyder.
Because I'm an asshole.
Pulled out, not a character, but for making anybody care about the Justice League, the Warner Brothers Justice League movie after what was a terrible movie 5 or 6 years ago. I'll start it, and for me, I think it's Cara Dune. I think that's a well done character that I'm sad is not going to be on the show anymore. And I thought they brought along and gave her a really cool backstory and some of the things that they have her do and say and hold her own in the fight scenes. So for me, it's Cara Dune.
All right, I'll go next. Yeah, as much as I love, I made the Zack Snyder reference because I'm an asshole. and I'd love to vote for him because really, yeah, he made everybody care about Justice League for 5 minutes. And it was so much better than the other one. Out of Huey and Cara Dune, I love Huey, but Cara Dune really, like Paul said, I'm really sad that outside politics kind of ruined that part of the show, and that's all we'll leave it at. But Cara Dune really, like, she was a really good supporting character to the Mandalorian, and I saw where they could grow not only her character in a separate show like they were planning, but tie in a whole universe there. So yeah, I'll miss Cara Dune. But yeah, that would be my vote, Cara Dune.
All right, so I'm gonna play the worst devil's advocate ever here, in that I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but I want to talk about the other ones. So your nomination of Zack Snyder for making people care about Justice League, that's more so than just the Justice League movie. That's the Snyder cut. I don't know what it is, the phenomenon we heard for like 3 years. And I think I argued, and probably the other two you argued too, that isn't going to happen. That's not a thing. There's no fucking money for that. Nobody's going to do cuts of an extra movie, right?
For
and then
a whole year.
Yeah.
At least a year. We said it's never happening.
And then Warner Bros. Ultimately decided to feed him several $1 million to finish that off, which was a total surprise. But that's not the point. The point is that he generated a ridiculous love for a DC franchise that almost doesn't deserve any real recognition, because Warner Brothers keeps doing it over and over and over and over in some fashion. And it's not Justice League, but over and over and over and over. Every character, 2, 3, 4, 5 iterations of the same story. And at this point, I don't care, and I know you guys are still mildly caring. But at the same time, Zack Snyder did a different thing. He did a little bit of a darker thing. He did a little bit of even the color contrast in the movies, but especially so in the Snyder cut with the different villains. Like, he really played it up, and he really earned what you gave him here, which is make people care about Justice League. And literally for 2 years, we heard people say, give a Snyder cut, so that's how much he put into that undeserving sort of DC franchise. Okay. Huey and the Boys is probably one of the best. He's a little bit of comic relief. He doesn't belong with the rest of them at all. At all, right? If you were to pick somebody that could leave the group tomorrow, I mean, in a way it would be him, but also if we're watching it, you'd say, no, don't ever get rid of him. But I mean, he's a different kind of character, and he sort of makes the other guys, particularly Butcher. He informs Butcher's decisions and life choices as much as Butcher wants no part of that. There's sort of involvement there. Again, all that said, you can write Cara Dune down. I know you're ready, Paul. But I mean, there isn't a question for me, even more so with her being cut from future episodes. I mean, she was the supporting character for The Mandalorian in season 1. She was the supporting character in season 2. If there were a person you could ask me, which character do you not want to be cut? It wasn't Mando. It was Cara Dune for me. And so I'm a little bit sad that that's how things rolled out. And without equivocation, I'll give her the best year supporter.
Got it. You almost talked me next night.
Did I exceed my 7? Did I exceed my 7 minutes?
You almost talked me into my own joke. That was great.
I said I was going to play devil's advocate without actually doing it. I agree with you guys. I just wanted to put that out there.
So what we got left? We got worst geek movie. We've got ass whooping, and then we got the top ones really.
Yeah.
You want to go ass whooping?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
sure.
right, let's go ass whooping. All right, so last year's winner was IG-11 kicking the shit out of the Stormtroopers.
That definitely deserves that one.
Scout Troopers, yeah, that was amazing. A bunch of other ones that were in there was Thanos whipping Cap's ass, which was fun. Captain Marvel versus Jan Rog, and Rambo versus Human Trafficker.
Oh, in the tunnels. Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. So this year, our nominees are Luke Skywalker versus the Dark Troopers in Mando Season 2. Stormfront Says Goodbye, which, we can get into that in a second. And then Dark Noir, isn't it Black Noir? Dark Noir.
That's Black Noir.
Yeah, okay.
Don't read my script, John.
We're gonna go off script. Black Noir versus Tree Nuts.
I don't want to write black. It's offensive.
Oh shit! All right, yeah. Welcome to 2021. All right, so Luke Skywalker versus Dark Troopers, or Stormfront Says Goodbye, and then we've got our fun one, Black Noir versus Tree Nuts. I guess we can start with that one, the Black Noir versus the Tree Nuts.
You know what? That should have been on our unexpected moments thing, because that was a really hilarious way to reveal like a superhero's weakness. That was funny. That was actually funny.
Yeah, nobody saw that coming. Everyone was fighting, and then they shove a Snickers bar into and he chokes out. It's like, what the fuck? He's like, yeah, he's got a peanut allergy. Really? It can.
That was really funny. Come on, you got to give them. That was really funny.
It was really.
They have built Black Noir up over not just the comics, but this particular show and this season to be like the badass. Like, he doesn't talk. He is just like the executor of the group. He does what he's supposed to do. There's no question. And then somebody put, a fucking Snickers bar in his face, and the guy was like, "Oh, help!"
In the show, up until this point, he's supposed to be their Batman. Now, anyone who's actually read the comics knows what he is. So either way, none of this checks out, but it's still funny. Like, you're like, what the fuck is going on? So for him to have a nut allergy is just like, really? So you're right. It should have been like our what the fuck moment.
Yeah.
But
no, it was still good though. It was good.
good.
No question.
All right. So Luke and Stormfront. All right. So Stormfront Says Goodbye. I don't want to say girls get it done.
No, actually, no. That's worth saying here, because the three of us have said there's a right way.
They did good here.
Yeah. There's a right way and a wrong way to do girl power. So Avengers Endgame did all the wrong things.
And here they were actually making fun of it.
Yeah.
But in making fun of it, they show how to do it right.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like, we've got this covered, let's go forward. It was like, okay, maybe we got this, oh shit, we're getting our ass whooped. Like, they did it in a sort of give and take way that wasn't like, girls get it done and they can't not get it done. It was something different than that.
Yeah, it was so much better than Disney. So Stormfront got her ass kicked by all the rest of the girls in the group. But then you've got Luke Skywalker versus the Dark Troopers, which, to me, again, we go back to what we were talking about earlier with like Luke's appearance. This was the vindication for what happened in the sequels. This is what you expected Luke Skywalker to be at about this point. And he annihilated these supposed undefeated or undefeatable troops. Just easily crushed them, completely annihilated them, and showed you who Luke Skywalker really is at that point. So to me, it's Luke.
And did it relatively easily. I mean, there was like, that one was like punching Mando's helmet in, and he almost didn't survive it. And Luke just comes in, and there's a couple of force pushes and crushes and right. And
they show you how badass they are. They can get dropped in space, fly back, fuck up Mando, and this whole thing. And still Luke just makes like 2 minutes
Yep.
I think that scene is like maybe 2.5 minutes, and he's done with all of them.
Yep.
So yeah, to me, it's Luke.
Me too.
All right.
Hey, Eric.
Listen, I understand this doesn't make any difference, but I'm just gonna go the other direction because I can, and because this deserves a couple more minutes of discussion. So, an ass whooping for the ages. We did IG-11. He earned it because he whooped their ass and no one cared about any of them. Right? They were just nobodies. He just fucking let loose. For me, the fight scene with Stormfront, even though she gets her ass whooped by a few girls, is actually a little bit more deserving because they all got their ass beat by her before there was sort of a mild, gradual comeback until they got to the point, right? So the ass whooping ended in her just flying off, actually. She didn't even get totally her ass whooped in that whole scene. But it was still something, it was something to watch. It was something to appreciate. And now that I've talked about that, I think you guys are right. So never mind. I'm just gonna... I was going to convince myself, but then I couldn't. So never mind. I think Luke walking in and the ease with which he whooped all their asses and should have ended the sequel series on episode 1 is probably prominent here. But yeah,
you're right. There we go.
Sorry to waste your time with that extra conversation.
All right. So speaking of wasting time, should we just like eliminate worst geek movie of 2020? I don't even really think we have.
I haven't seen any of those movies, so that's fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. We'll just eliminate it completely. They all suck. There you go. They all win. Yay. So we've got just the top couple now. We've got best hero, best sci-fi, best superhero show, and best movie. You want to just work our way up? Go to best hero?
From the bottom? Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, so best hero. Last year's winner was 2019 Iron Man, which, duh. Others receiving consideration were Captain America, Mando, and Shazam, which were all cool. And then this year, the nominees are Andy from the Old Guard, Wonder Woman, Harley Quinn from Birds of Prey, and Din Fucked it up. Din Djarin from Mando season 2. Who wants to take it?
Okay, so Wonder Woman is certainly deserving of a hero title, but the ease with which she earned that in the 1984 movie is laughable and makes me not want to give her anything. And I don't blame Wonder Woman or the comics for that. It was just a movie choice, right? Where they decided.
I would agree. I'll interject there. That was specifically them trying to make a sequel to a movie that was really well received, and they shit the bed on it, really.
In a way, yeah. I mean, it's not like it was bad. I would watch it again. Don't get me wrong. I would probably watch.
The movie's not horrible, but to someone of Wonder Woman's caliber,
yeah, exactly.
It's almost disrespectful.
I think if we're having this conversation when the first one came out, I think it's a different story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what fucked me up, guys? The fucking mall scene. Seriously, the mall scene, which was supposed to be the 1984 throwback. I laughed at it. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, me too. And it completely set me off for the whole movie. Yeah.
It did. It really did. And I'm not knocking Wonder Woman. I'm not knocking the overall story. It really kind of broke the hero element for me because every hero that you and I love has a problem, and she doesn't have one.
Yeah.
She didn't earn one.
In the beginning, I was worried about Gal Gadot being cast. I love her as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, me too.
But the writing is not great for her.
Yep.
She needs somebody better.
Yeah, you can fuck something up even with really good shots in CGI and everything else.
I think it's a larger DC problem because the heroes, in the DC universe don't have flaws, by and large, right? They are gods. And we talked about this a little bit when we did the
but
Justice League review.
not to interrupt you, Paul, but in the comics, they do have flaws big time, especially Batman. He gets all the flaws in the world, and they don't play that out in the movies.
They don't.
Paul saying is comparing DC to Marvel.
To Marvel, right?
Marvel is more.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Marvel,
Sorry.
The Marvel characters are humans who get powers, but they retain a lot of their humanity, and the DC characters are largely these gods where they don't. And Batman, I guess, the only one with his obsessions and that stuff is like, but still he very rarely gets hurt, right? Nothing really gets to, he can get kicked through a brick wall or face down dark side and comes out okay. But he doesn't have the angst and the stuff or the character flaws that Tony Stark has, or Peter Parker has, or any of the others.
Batman
writing them.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Or Warner Brothers does.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just Warner Brothers. Batman is probably the only character within the DC universe that gets considerable considerations for the way that would make him a questionable person, that would challenge his sort of morals and all that. They don't bother with that for Superman. They don't bother with that for Aquaman. They don't do that, generally speaking, in the DC universe. Going back to what Paul says, right? They are gods almost entirely.
Yep.
And sadly, within the DC universe, there's really only like 7 of them that even meet the criteria to have lengthy stories on. Right. And so Warner Brothers keeps playing it up over and over and over. And Batman is he's the only character that gets flaws in all of these. And I mean, I guess in the end, I mean, what we're talking about here is heroes, but Wonder Woman gets none, especially not in the DC EU.
Yeah. And even then, not to go too much on a tangent, but even then, Batman in a lot of the comics is written in this way that is like, everyone's sort of surprised that he's a member of the Justice League with these other gods around him, but they still write him in a way that he's beaten all of them at one point or another, right? Yeah. Like, he's slowed down the Flash. He took out Wonder Woman. He takes out Superman. He takes out Green Lantern. He takes out Aquaman. Like, there are multiple comics where he's taken them all down. He has contingencies on top of contingencies for all of them.
That's right.
Them at one point or another.
Contingency on top of contingencies. That's exactly right, because Batman has something that none of the other superheroes in DC get, and that's like a little bit of time to plan equals you can beat anyone. And so he sort of earns what Marvel gives a lot of its characters, which is if you've got sort of the gusto and the motivation and the right amount of planning, you actually can beat somebody better than you. Whereas all the other DC characters were already better than the villains, and they just beat them.
Yep.
But Batman, he's the only one that earns it.
Yep.
And the only DC character I like, for the record.
Right. So back to best hero, Wonder Woman. Sucks. Next.
I love Wonder Woman. She just doesn't deserve this award. Yeah. I love Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman.
This movie did not serve her. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on.
Harley Quinn. You want to talk about that one? So again, from a inappropriate male perspective, she is a great rendition of this character. At the same time, she earns none of what Harley Quinn deserves in like the animated series. Nah, forget about it, man. She doesn't have that in the movies at all, especially not in Birds of Prey. She didn't earn any of it.
Yep, I agree.
All right.
Although we nominated her, so sorry to talk shit, but
because we needed nominations.
Yeah. Well, this was a hard year. I guess we said that at the beginning, right?
Yep. All right. So got Andy from Old Guard and Mando left.
All right. I'll start this one.
Crickets.
I'll start this
Oh
one.
no, I was just.
We already tore apart the bottom two. So
I was being quiet.
So I love Mando. I think that that he did a couple things this season to make him a little bit more relatable, but I think those things in some way violated some of what he stands for and talked through in season 1, right? Like the taking off of the helmet and all that stuff. I don't know that that diminishes him as a hero. I think the way he cares for the child through season 2 gave a lot more depth to his character. But I really liked the Old Guard, the movie. I thought the character of Andy, played by Charlize Theron, was deep, interesting, and a badass. And so I'm going to give it to Andy.
Yeah, I would agree. I think as much as I love Mando all across 2 seasons, I want to see what they're going to do with him after the child's gone. But yeah, Andy for 1 movie was compelling as a character. So I think I'd give it to Andy.
I'm not going to argue with you, and I love Mando, for the record. Season 1 was more impactful for him as a character than season 2, I think, where they decided to sort of shift the focus a little bit. But Andy, I mean, at least the way they presented the show, she was alone for like 1,000 years before she met the other people, right? So there's these immortals with sort of this burden of I've been alive for a long time, I need to do this certain right thing, and imagining being alone for 10 years is sort of a brutal concept for me. And then you take that to the next level of 1,000 years before you get to meet 2 people like you is sort of it's strong. It's a strong concept, right? And then one of those 2 people she meets dies in the movie. It's like, okay, 1,000 years, you get to meet 2 people like you that you can connect with, and one of them dies. Sorry, guys. So yeah, for me, I think she really is sort of an interesting embodiment of a hero, and it was sort of the way they presented it, where the Old Guard is sort of this a centuries-old organization that's really just interested in protecting the world, I guess. It's not too far off from some other things we've seen, but the concept is still interesting. And to have her sort of give up, I mean, you and I couldn't give up 50 years to somebody else, but to give up 1,000, right? Before you even get to meet somebody else that can help you along in the struggle, it means something. So Wonder Woman doesn't deserve it, Quinn doesn't deserve it, Din Djarin deserves it, but he did it for 2 seasons. So I feel like with Andy as the 1,000-year-old immortal, she probably earns this one.
All right, Andy's the winner. All right, best sci-fi movie. Last year's winner was Brightburn. Others that were on there were Detective Pikachu, I Am Mother, and Terminator, Dark Fate, and Godzilla King of Monsters. Now we've got Black Box, Tenet, and The Old Guard for this year. All right, I'm just going to go right off the bat and say I really, really enjoyed The Old Guard, so that's got my vote. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I only saw that. I didn't see Black Box or Tenet, so I'm going to pick Old Guard, but don't let that be my vote that puts it over the top if Eric picks something else.
No, I'm not going to go against you guys. I will say Black Box I liked. I mean, the concept behind that sort of mind-bending alternate reality sci-fi thing is actually kind of cool. It's something that we haven't seen in the previous movie. Tenet, it is unique, but the time travel aspects of it are almost hard to follow, because it's not like there's a set timeline and something's happening over here and you get to follow that, right? It's like a bullet can go back in time in a scene, and that has nothing to do with everything else that's happening. And so it becomes a little hard to follow, and I'm not going to say I'm stupid, but maybe I am after watching this, but I couldn't follow it the first time through. I had a hard time the second time through, and that makes me not want to give it a best sci-fi movie award, because I feel like if I can't follow it, Jesus Christ, does anybody follow this thing? I like time travel movies. I've talked to you guys before about time travel movies, some sort of off the cuff ones that are hard to follow, but this one was, it was rough for me. And I like the main character a lot. He reminds me of what's the This Is America. You guys remember? It doesn't matter. It reminded me a little bit of him, but still, in any case, I couldn't follow the storyline the way I wanted to. So Old Guard will also get it for me. That follows a comic book genre, a comic book theming that I really like, and not that we had a lot of choices for sci-fi movies this year or this past year, but I think it deserves it just as much as Andy did in Old Guard.
All right, well, there you go.
Was that cough like shut the fuck up or?
No.
Like when the music plays at the Academy.
Yeah. Stop talking.
No, that was just me coughing.
All right. Someone filled in best fight in red, but I don't know, we haven't done it yet. So best fight, last year's winner, the knife store scene in John Wick 3. Others receiving consideration, Avengers Endgame, fight between Cap, Thor, Iron Man, and Thanos. Amazing scene, and caused, I think, when you get the on your left and the other heroes show up again, at a moment where everyone in the theater bursts out into applause. Yeah. And then Rambo, Last Blood fight versus human traffickers, which was also awesome. Yeah. This year's nominees, Chris Hemsworth, we talked about this for shocking moment, Chris Hemsworth fight versus the children in Extraction. He fights the kids that the gang sends after he and the kid he's trying to save. Yeah. Harley going into the police station, breaking Cassandra Cain out of jail in Harley Quinn and the 12-word movie titled Birds of Prey. The kitchen fight in the movie The Hunt.
I forgot about that. Yeah. Sorry.
A movie that was supposed to come out a long time ago and didn't for a bunch of different reasons, mostly political, but is a really good fight scene. Mando versus Moff Gideon in Mando Season 2. Moff Gideon using the Darksaber, Mando using the Beskar staff. Ahsoka Tano versus Morgan Elsbeth, also in Mando Season 2. And the carrier brawl between Godzilla and Kong in the self-titled Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah. All right, so I'll jump on there. All of these kind of like blew my mind. The only thing out of Birds of Prey I saw was that scene. I never bothered watching the movie, but because we were doing this, I watched that one scene, and it was good. Not as good as I thought it could be, comparing it to the first Suicide Squad and what I'm hoping James Gunn does with the next Suicide Squad. So I'm going to eliminate that one. Mando and Moff Gideon, I mean, that was just one for the ages. I was hoping to see that. Honestly, I would give it to Ahsoka and Morgan Elsbeth. The choreography in the fight, the two of them kind of just the way they faced off was amazing. And what's her face? Ahsoka. Help me. Main actor. Oh my God.
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, thank you. She does an amazing job in this role. And then that scene, she just like jumped up like 5 levels. And the woman playing Morgan Elsbeth was really good. The fight was, while it was quiet, it was epic at the same time. Like just watching it, because you finally see Ahsoka in live action with dual lightsabers. So to me, I think for me that was it. I think that was it. I know I nominated the Carrier Brawl with Godzilla vs. Kong, but it gets beat. All right, gentlemen.
That means
Eric,
my
you wanna
turn.
add?
Yeah, sure. So I think I've probably already revealed my choice here, but that scene with what's her name, Morgan Elsbeth,
Mhm.
and Rosario Dawson fighting over that little fucking whatever that was, that little pathway with the water and had like sort of this Zen garden theme with the wall around. That to me was incredibly cool because it was integrating, you know, I'm not sure how I'm going to forget his name at this point. I'll probably be shunned for this later, but can we get a cut on that one? So the creator of Star Wars,
Lucas?
thanks, George Lucas, had a real obsession with Japanese samurai films. Akira Kurosawa was one of his major influences, and sort of to do a Japanese samurai style fight in the Zen garden in quiet with the Beskar staff and the duel, like that was so fucking cool to me. That definitely wins sort of a fight scene thing. There's not really a lot of comparison here. If we're talking about a pure fight scene, no characters or anything else, just a fight scene. I think that wins it easy for me.
So I rewatched all of these clips today, and I had the interesting thing about, like, the carrier fight is not even the best fight in Godzilla versus Kong. The one where Kong sort of gets beat and he knows it and taps out, I think, is a better fight. I had the most visceral reaction to the fight from The Hunt. And it's the part where they've already been fighting for a while. She kicks her through the fireplace that sort of separates the rooms. They end up at the top of the stairs, and one of the characters, I don't even know the characters' names in this movie because I didn't see the movie, but I watched this scene.
I saw the movie and I don't know the characters' names.
She's got a shotgun and it's cracked. And the one character's up against the wall and the other one's holding it like this. And at some point when she goes to snap it back, she catches her arm in the shotgun thing. And I was like, oh, like I immediately kind of like moved my hand to my arm because you can imagine how bad that hurts.
Yeah.
And of all the other stuff in there, you're like, look, that getting kicked through a fireplace can't feel good, but I've never been kicked through a fireplace, so I have no idea like viscerally what that feels like. But you can imagine what that would feel like to get that part of your arm caught in the thing of a shotgun. So for me, I was like, it's the only one that made me sort of wince in recognition of what that would feel like. So
yeah, so if you could change my mind on this, I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm the one who nominated that fight scene. Having been the only one that watched that movie through and through, I'm pretty sure in this group. But there was sort of after I watched the whole thing through, I appreciated how the characters sort of used the environment around them to have that fight. It was like flip over a counter, grab a knife out of a block, open the drawer. Like everything about it was like that sort of ninja-esque idea of using what's around you to whoop somebody else's ass. And both characters were doing that the whole way through the fight, which actually lasted, I think it was 3 or 4 minutes that fight scene went through, And so if you could convince me to vote for one other than what I already said, I mean, that's definitely it. I mean, they earned it. I nominated that. They earned it. But it was really cool the way they did that, despite the movie being mediocre sort of long run. But yeah.
Yeah, she's getting choked and they end up falling back through the plate glass window, and then they're both laying there and they're both just like, hold on, I just need they're like, okay.
Yeah, no, I won't argue with you about it. I actually have not seen it, but now I want to watch it.
No, it's a good scene.
Yeah.
It's a good fight scene.
All right. The Hunt.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll go with Paul. We'll go Hunt. That's good. It was my nomination anyway. That I didn't vote for.
So moving along, if we're ever going to review Loki, best superhero / sci-fi TV show. Last year's winner was The Mandalorian. The only other one receiving consideration was The Boys. This year, the nominations were The Mandalorian, The Boys, Warrior Nun, and the Harley Quinn animated series.
So I'm not going to start this one except for to talk to say that Paul should give a synopsis here, because Harley Quinn's animated series was a recommendation he made because he's been a long-time subscriber for the DC animated series stuff. He's followed that for a very, very long time, longer than either of you or I think. So let's hear him.
Yeah, I have not seen anything of it except for the fact that I want to.
Yeah, it's great, and it's got it. They swear, and I think it's really well done in being. It feels like you're watching something animated, right? So it automatically feels like it could be a kid show, and then in the first episode, I don't know, you're 3 minutes in and Harley throws out the F-bomb. And a lot of the jokes are adult themed. The situations are King Shark is hysterical in the show. It's really well done. And it's one of the better things that the DC universe has put together. And so the characters get some backstory and explanation, and the running gag is that she and Joker break up, but she can't. She's so like an addictive personality that she can't stay away from him, even though he's like the worst person in the world, and constantly uses her as a human shield and uses her to get away, and she keeps going back. But I think, all of that said, it isn't as good in its genre as The Boys as a show is in that genre. And between shocking moments, fights, character development, crazy stories, people get covered in guts in 3 out of every 4 episodes. My ultimate vote is for The Boys.
Okay. All right, well, I'll let Eric end it. I'll say, out of all 4 of these, I have not watched Harley Quinn yet. The only time I remember that I need to watch it is when I talk to Paul. So I do have to get on this one, because it seems like it's something in my wheelhouse. I want to watch it, so I'm going to. But I would agree with Paul. Out of all 4 of these, the one that I most look forward to watching, as much as I love The Mandalorian, those would be my top 2, The Mandalorian and The Boys. But the one that I most look forward to, especially moving forward now to the next season, would be The Boys. Just because I don't know where the fuck they're going to go. They're always shocking you. You never know what's going to happen. So it'd be The Boys.
Yeah, that's fair. Outside of previous sort of stuff after Paul told us, I really didn't watch Harley Quinn, the animated series, in any detail. I do, should I say, fortunately, have the same subscription service as him, and I could watch that too, but
Yeah.
I haven't really had a strong desire to do so. I think that was actually partly ruined by a woman that I love is Harley Quinn, but just hasn't done it for me lately, Birds of Prey. So I just haven't really been motivated. Warrior Nun was an interesting series. At least 3/4 of the way through it, I was pretty interested. And then they got towards the end of that, and I felt like, what was that old 90s series with the witches? And there was 3 attractive women that played the witches. You don't know what I'm talking about? You're looking at me like, huh? Charmed. Yeah. It sort of started to remind me of that with the demonic villain claymation looking weird things they had.
Yeah. So, you're right. Because Heather and I watched it, we got about, I want to say 70 or 80% through it.
Well, that's why I said 3/4. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right about right.
Yeah, pull off too.
So it turned me off a little. Mandalorian, without question, is one of the best Star Wars. No, it is the best Star Wars series. Not there's been. It's the best Star Wars product probably that there's been since the original series,
Yeah.
and I mean that in the sense of a fan getting fluttering chest stuff over watching it. Right? It's sort of a like, man, this thing is fucking epic. Like, how can you not do that?
Yes.
How can you not love it? Even when there's something you don't like, how can you not be interested? You know what I mean? How can you not be invested? That said, The Boys tickles that same fancy. If you've watched any of the or read any of the comics from the old, and we've talked about this 100 times, and it's not the same. But if you watched or read any of the comics and understand sort of the perverse world that's coming from, the TV show takes it beyond that. I mean, to a place that you probably wouldn't have thought of a lot of the time. So The Boys, I'm going to regret saying this, but because I gave it to Mandalorian last year, I'm not going to fight it. The Boys deserves best superhero, sci-fi TV series, this year. Yep.
I think every year it's going to wind up being
Could be one of these two,
between the two of them, yeah. All right, so last category, so we can end this show and put you people to bed.
Best. I think we have to do a second episode, actually.
Yeah, this is best movie for our version of Best Picture for the year, which was mediocre at best, but last winner was Avengers Endgame, and we said it before when we first started putting this list together for this year. There's no following that. It's just...
Before you read those titles, John, I mean, I have a hard time looking at them now and saying, yeah, that's the best.
Yeah.
Like, I'm laughing at us for nominating any of these, honestly. But
most years, most of these wouldn't make this list.
Yeah, the year was what it was, and we lost probably half the movies we should have saw. We never got to see. So
when you talk scraping the bottom of the barrel, I mean that's kind of what I feel like I'm doing here.
No, awkwardly, we're scraping the top of the barrel for these.
For a year that scraped the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, it was a bottom of the barrel year where we scraped the top.
Here's the top of your barrel. All right, so the nominees for this year are The Old Guard, Onward, Wonder Woman 1984, and Godzilla vs. Kong.
Can I start this one?
Go ahead.
I probably started too many already, but I love The Old Guard. There's no secret there. We already talked about that. Wonder Woman 1984 made me laugh a little bit because it was just too much on a series, on a woman, on a character, on a Gal Gadot that deserves a whole lot more. The villains were the shining moment in that, certainly not her. Godzilla vs. Kong, maybe the rest of you will laugh, but I literally texted John, I think, and Paul too, afterwards, like, I don't even know what happened in the last 10 minutes of this movie. Like, are they in outer space? What the hell's going on? But that's just because I don't follow the Godzilla thing, so I didn't quite get it, and it might have been one of those Skywalker moments or something that I just missed. All that said about all these, I really want to give it to Old Guard. At the same time, Onward sort of tickled my 1984 fancy of Dungeons and Dragons playing nerdiness, and I think if I'm looking at these four titles that I'm not sure how we nominated, I want to pick that one. Sorry, boys. I know nobody's gonna agree, but
all right, Paul.
So when I went down this list earlier today, I looked at it and I was like, I really liked The Old Guard. I liked the idea of the immortal characters keeping peace on Earth, right? Doing the right thing, making sure that good wins and that sort of thing. I liked how they did There's a new immortal character. I like how they sort of ostracized one that kind of sold them out. I liked all that went. Wonder Woman 1984 made me laugh at times that I wasn't supposed to be laughing, that I don't think they intended me to laugh, but I did anyway. And Godzilla versus Kong is like I said, is a McDonald's cheeseburger that, right, you're happy to eat. You know it's not gourmet, but you're like, no, it's fine. It tastes
starting to sound like a Happy Meal.
Yeah, and I'm not embarrassed to say that I think it's good. But it just, you know, if you ever wonder, like, what's that movie about? Oh yeah, it's Godzilla versus Kong. That's all you need to know. Like, what is Snakes on a Plane about? Snakes on a Plane. But you make a good point in Onward, and I'd forgotten sort of the feels that I got from that movie. And so I'm okay if that movie wins. I'm going to vote for Old Guard, but I'm okay if Onward wins.
All right. So
now, John, you have to pick. Hold on, I want to set this up. Not that it needs it. We've been here too long already, but you have to pick between how much you like Tickle Your Asshole nostalgia versus a real storyline that happens in Old Guard and sort of the fundamental idea of a comic character, which was really what the Old Guard is.
I can pick any one of the four of these, and we can just argue it. All right. So now, while I am not as astute or well versed as my colleagues, which is ironic because I'm the fucking host of the show, but
you're also the best writer among us.
I'm just the asshole with an idea. All right. So, you got the Old Guard where, like both of you said, I enjoyed it. I really liked the way they built the character development in it. Wonder Woman 84. I wanted Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman to have more. So that's out.
I also wanted her to have a lot more.
As much as I love Godzilla versus Kong, and I did, I loved it. But like Paul said, it's you know what you're getting out of it. I knew exactly what I was getting out of it as soon as I walked into the theater. Onward, I didn't know quite what to expect out of this little Pixar film, and it really hit me. So all our reviews and everything else aside, to keep it short and to end this episode after like 3 fucking hours, I have to give this to Onward.
Well beyond short, but yes.
Onward just blew my mind with how good it really was.
What was the really old TV series with a dad tapping his foot? My Three Fathers or something?
My Three Sons?
My Three Sons, yeah. Sorry.
Sorry,
guys.
Father?
I'm not quite
something totally different.
I'm not quite old enough to commit it to memory, but
My Three Fathers is way more progressive than you think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Maybe we're coming back to that boomerang moment, right? No, but that lower body half with the foot tapping thing reminded me of that show for some stupid reason.
Yeah, Onward just hit me in a way that I didn't think it would. So
yeah, but it wasn't about that. I was just making the point that some sort of weird nostalgia shit was triggered like every other 5 minutes watching that show, and it went from unicorns to Scooby vans to I don't even know what the hell was happening, but elves and knights and the whole dragons, the whole thing just reminded me of like a teenage childhood. Honestly.
Yeah, and they did it all perfectly. So there you go.
And it wasn't even a good movie. That's the funny part. Like, if you really look at it, it wasn't a clever plot. It wasn't unique or anything like that. It was just relatable.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, Paul, are you okay with it?
Oh yeah, totally.
Okay. So at the end of the day, the best movie of 2020, after everything we've been through, to just be a relatable movie,
yeah.
Not so bad.
You know, this is really a show for all the bullshit we do. This is really a show about nostalgia. This is really a show about
It is.
being 12 when you're 40. You know, that
It is.
is that is largely what we're about, right? You just remember the things that sort of gave you excitement back then, and that's what we talk about, and that's what we appreciate. And anytime we're doing all this, we've got sort of this weird lustful I love Gal Gadot stuff, but at the same time you could say, well, do you remember when Michelle Pfeiffer did Catwoman? Yeah, it was better than Cheetah. It wasn't, but you can embrace that. So I mean, I think give us credit for what we are, which is nothing but 1980s.
That's right. That's right.
And that's a perspective we're
Geekies all about. That's right. That's what the Geekies are all about, baby. Welcome to the 80s Revisited.
Hey, for the record, Michael Keaton's still my favorite Batman, and he's shitty.
He's
but he's my
back.
favorite Batman.
But he's coming back. So,
I know, but he's my favorite He's my favorite Batman, and at the same time, because I saw him as my favorite Batman, he's my favorite Marvel Falcon guy. So like, whatever. Let's just go with it. It's fine.
all right. Let's hurry up and end this one so we can get the other one out of the way before Eric passes out. All right. So that's it. Those are our 2020 Geekies. So there's our third annual Geekie Awards for you people. Let us know what you think, what you disagree with, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of it. And hit us up. We can be reached at, oh, wow, that was new. Sorry. Like, subscribe, comment, and ring a bell and all that other happy shit down below. And then hit us up at whatifgeeks.com, whatifgeeks at facebook.com, whatifgeeks at Gmail, Instagram, Twitter, and all that happy shit. Please, for the love of God, let us know what the fuck's going on. We still have a Patreon out there that I got to drop another episode on here because I'm a month late because of vacation. But we'll do that here this weekend. Yeah, hit us up. Tell us hi. And we will talk to you later. Thanks for watching the Geekies. Good night, Tony.
Right, love sausage.
Good night, Andy. Forever.